Broadcasting live from the Capital OTB studios, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
This is Racing Across America, and I am Seth Merrow. Thanks for joining us. I'll just alert the guys in the control room. I didn't see the open there, so you may want to switch the video so I can see the replays. And we will have some replays of Breeders' Cup action from yesterday. Another really nice day of Breeders' Cup action. Hopefully it worked out for you. It was a day where you could have had some crazy opinions and gotten paid, and some logical horses as well, but it was up all over the board. But we'll talk about that in a minute. First, raise your hand if you tuned in an hour ago to watch the show. It is daylight savings, the end of daylight savings last night. And I say that, and probably nobody raised their hand, because these days, back in the day, and it wasn't that long ago, you had to remind people, hey, turn the clock back, turn the clock forward. These days, with the smart devices and everybody having a phone in their pocket, it automatically tells you. So I hope everybody tuned in correctly this morning and not an hour ago. But I also bring it up because today, post time at Belmont is 11:50, and you're going to have to get used to, obviously, with it getting darker earlier. Unfortunately, there will be some earlier post times. We're kind of in that winter mode over the next few months, where the racing will start a little earlier and end a little earlier at many of the venues, including obviously New York today, kicking off, as I say, at 11:50. Because of that, we're doing a little bit of an abbreviated version, because I assume probably the bottom of the hour they'll kick off with the pregame show there. So we'll try to get you to that on time. So again, a little bit of an abbreviated edition, but we will go back and take a look at some of the Breeders' Cup action from yesterday. Don't forget, today here at the Clubhouse Racebook, NFL Sunday. We'd love to have you come on down, watch all the NFL action and all the racing action as well, here at the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. All right. Before we get to the racing action, just a note, it was a record handle at the Breeders' Cup this year. I pulled up from there's a little chart that was on the Breeders' Cup website, 180 handle, overall handle, $182 million. And just looking down, the previous record was a couple years ago at Santa Anita, 174 million. Again, this year it was 182 million. Last year it was 160 million at Keeneland. Attendance was a little bit, anemic. But that was, pandemic situation out in Southern California. It was 47,000. Last year, they don't have the attendance listed last year at Keeneland, but the numbers were, again, pandemic reduced. You go back a couple of years ago at Santa Anita, though, 109,000, so as compared to 47,000 this year. Significant attendance difference, but again, that's still all related to the pandemic. But the good news coming out is the handle numbers were crazy. And I'm just wondering, and I read a couple articles so far today, but I have to delve further into it. With the handle jump, I'm wondering, with some Japanese entrants, that I assume allowed Breeders' Cup wagering in Japan, and I would think that had to juice up the numbers significantly. And I'm also wondering, a couple of the articles I read after Friday's good handle numbers said that handle numbers, it was, I think, a Matt Haggerty DRF article, said handle numbers tend to be better when it's on the West Coast, which I found interesting. And I would love to hear how that works out too. Maybe that works into a better timing for Asian bettors to jump into the pools. It's certainly not better in Europe, I wouldn't think. But again, I'd like to hear it parsed out a little more as to reasons why the handle jumped. It wasn't a super significant jump as compared to 2 years ago, but it was notable. And again, I wonder if Japan did play into that with their runners, and certainly they had to be happy as well with their runners doing well at this year's Breeders' Cup. All right, let's kick off and let's take a look at some of the action. And we'll start with the Breeders' Cup Classic. In a moment, we'll show the entire race. But before, we'll just set it up. I would love to be a mind reader. Maybe some of the jockeys will say it, but I would love to be a mind reader and know if what happened earlier in the day in the distaff played into the thinking of the jockeys coming into the Classic, because the blistering pace in the distaff, the insane pace in the distaff, and then the race falling apart. I wonder if people said, well, let's not go out and challenge Nick Sko and do the same thing twice in one afternoon. That said, John Velasquez said in post-race comments, Medina Spirit just broke slowly. John Velasquez had said earlier his strategy before the race was to go. Now, that said, watching the simulcast signal, they caught up with Bob Baffert in the paddock just before the race. He didn't seem quite as intent that they were going to knock it out with Nick Sko. But he did then reference the distaff and what happened there. So again, I would love to know the mindset. How it played out, though, again, John Velasquez says Medina Spirit broke a little slowly, so he said, no, I'm 3 lengths behind. I'm not going to push to go up there and then push the speed horse, so I just had to kind of inch my way into contention. And so Medina Spirit winds up running second. Nick Sko wins the race, obviously, but does so loose on the lead, essentially. And I think if you're going to beat him, as we had Jeremy Planck on yesterday, and he made a great tie into the Saudi Cup. It seems like if you're looking to beat Nick Sko, you have to kind of go eye to eye with him, and that may set him up to falter late. Quality speed tends to be very good on the front end if they're not getting challenged, and that was the case yesterday with Nick Sko. We'll watch it. The fractions were legit, 23, then 45 and change, 110 and change. So it was an honest pace, but as I say, nobody's out there pushing him, and he's quality speed. So we're going to watch the race here coming out of the gate and around the track, the 1.25 mile Breeders' Cup Classic from yesterday. We'll have some comments after it. Stay tuned.
They're off in the Breeders' Cup Classic. And Nick Sko goes out to the early lead as expected. Art Collector is up and on the pace. Stiletto Boy is on the outside. Then Hot Rod Charlie. Tripoli has the rail. Essential Quality is in behind them. And Medina Spirit's outside of horses. Reined off the pace by John Velasquez early on. Max Player at the back of the pack. So it's Nick Sko in front. Through this opening quarter mile, Nick Sko leads it by 3/4 of a length over Art Collector, and they complete the quarter in 23.16 seconds. Medina Spirit is caught out there 3 wide. Hot Rod Charlie is in behind the leaders, drafting in 4th. And then comes Essential Quality right behind him, alongside of Stiletto Boy. A 3 wide Max Player is next, and Tripoli is unhurried at the back of the field, 7 lengths off of Nick Sko, who will take them to the backstretch. Nick Sko and Joel Rosario 1.5 lengths in front. And then it's Art Collector, followed on the outside by Medina Spirit. The first half, 45.77 seconds. So Nick Sko is moving right along here, up the backstretch at Del Mar with a 2.5 length lead. Art Collector, Hot Rod Charlie, and Medina Spirit are right behind them. Then comes Stiletto Boy. Essential Quality is on the rail. He's got 5 lengths to make up. Max Players in the 3-path. Tripoli is the trailer. It is Nick Sko on top, 3/4 in 1:10.04 seconds. He leads the way by 2 lengths on the far turn. Art Collector on the outside is second. Hot Rod Charlie is on the rail. Then Medina Spirit. Essential Quality has come under a ride as they make their way to the top of the stretch. It is Nick Sko, and he's going to try to take him the distance here. Nick Sko comes wide for the stretch drive. Hot Rod Charlie on the inside is second, and then comes Medina Spirit, Art Collector, and Essential Quality into the final furlong, and it is Nick Sko. Nick Sko has a 2.5 length lead. Medina Spirit, Hot Rod Charlie, Essential Quality. Nick Sko, a superstar, wins the Breeders' Cup Classic. Medina Spirit was second, Essential Quality was third, and Hot Rod Charlie was fourth. And a final time of 1:59.57 seconds.
A 112 buyer, solid 112 buyer figure win for Nick Sko in the Classic. Running second was Medina Spirit, running third Essential Quality, fourth Hot Rod Charlie, so the 3-year-olds are right behind. Art Collector, a little bit disappointing, running sixth. Max Player last in the field of 8. But Nick Sko gets it done. Again, kind of loose on the lead, as it were, legit fractions. But if you're not looking him in the eye, he is running relaxed and gets it done, turning down the lane. I liked Essential Quality over Nick Sko. I boxed those up in an exacta, so I was a little bit disappointed. I was kind of surprised Essential Quality went off as the 9-5 favorite. I thought Nick Sko would be the favorite, but you got $3 and 20 cents to the dollar on Knicks Go. So it was an $8.40 price on what now is the champion older Eclipse Award winner. You would think that's pretty much sewed up. Horse of the Year, maybe not as much, but certainly, again, the $8 and change price was pretty good. And as I say, I like Essential Quality over Knicks Go. And as it got close to race time, I was looking at the probable pays, and the Exacta either way was paying $22. So I boxed them up in the Exacta, and I thought Essential Quality kind of cut the corner, and I thought looked good at that point. And then Luis Saez pulled him out, and he just never got really, and that's kind of his style. He has that grinding style. He just doesn't have that big burst of speed, but he couldn't get that momentum to get up and get the second to complete my Exacta. He wasn't going to get the winner there, but I thought he might complete the Exacta, but it was Medina Spirit on the outside who just had a little more momentum to get second by 3/4 of a length over Essential Quality. Subsequently, I want to say it was a Dave Grenig article in the Racing Forum. You can look it up on this race. And actually, it may have been a separate. It was a separate article from the this race recap. It was an article particularly about the 3-year-olds. And Bob Baffert, after the race, had commented, "Medina Spirit has done enough to be the 3-year-old champion." And I don't know. That to me is a brash statement, given the situation. Now, in a normal year, I might agree. The Kentucky Derby Grade 1 win picks up the ungraded Shared Belief, but beats older horses in the Awesome again. And then the second over Hot Rod Charlie and Essential Quality yesterday. So in a normal year, I don't know whether that would be a done deal, but at least in the conversation. But now with the Kentucky Derby up in the air, I would find that a hard push. I think Essential Quality, still with the 3rd place finish, and you just look at his season, wins the Grade 3 Southwest, the Grade 2 Bluegrass, the Grade 1 Belmont, Grade 2 Jim Dandy, and the Grade 1 Travers. To me, the Essential Quality resume. Now, head-to-head matchups, if you're looking at that, maybe Medina Spirit. But again, for me as a bettor, you're looking for W's on the resume. And then if you need to parse out, then maybe you're looking for placings behind or head-to-head battles. But to me, Essential Quality probably still has the better resume there on the 3-year-old side. As I said, and I mean, Bob Baffert's a little biased, so I can't knock him maybe pushing for his horse. But as I say, given the situation this year, a little brash, I thought, to make that comment after the race. All of that said, again, Knicks Go, really nice performance. Brad Cox done a great job with this one since taking over. And Knicks Go, again, you would think older male, pretty much a slam dunk. And Horse of the Year, probably, but still, I'm not sure that is as much of a slam dunk. And so we'll see how the year plays out there. Interesting what the conversation will be regarding that over the next few days. Breeders' Cup Turf. We will watch the stretch run and see Yabir get it done over Broome. Tiona runs 3rd, and Japan runs 4th in here. Tarnawa, the 2-1 favorite. The outside post position clearly not doing her any favors. She runs 11th in the field of 14. But one of the ding-dong finishes on the day gets up late. Yabir, who looked to have way too much to do, but William Buick got the horse going and did get it done. Charlie Appleby just continuing an incredible season. And that, Yabir was one of those that I didn't have in my mix, but it wasn't, an outlandish result, 850 to 1. So you got $19, but it was certainly one folks could have landed on just on the Charlie Appleby factor, but it come over and faced 3-year-olds in the Jockey Club Derby Invitational at Belmont, had won that pretty easily. So this was a horse maybe on the come for a European trainer who's having a great season and gets it done there. So Yabir in the Breeders' Cup Turf with a buyer of 105. So a solid number there, following up the 94 buyer in that Jockey Club Derby at Belmont back in September. So as I say, you got prices there, certainly, but none of them were Broome was a horse that was eminently playable for Aidan O'Brien. Tiona was a horse that a lot of people seem to have in their mix, 3-year-old filly. So if in the turf, I always say maybe it just makes sense. Box up the Europeans, exactas and triples, and if you just blindly use that strategy, you wound up with a $170 exacta and the trifecta. Boy, the trifecta, how about this for 50 cents? You box up the Europeans, 50 cents brought you back $583. So again, you could have blindly maybe just gone with the Euros in the turf and wound up happy on the day. I'm not breadboarding. I did not do that, but every year I kind of say it. Next year, maybe I'll have to follow my own advice and try to make that work. The aforementioned distaff just completely fell apart on the crazy pace. Latruska, who is a bona fide front runner, gets challenged early by the Bob Baffert, Flavian Pratt ridden private mission, and they're out there in 21 and change, 44 and change, 109 and change. They wind up Latruska next to last, private mission last. So it sets things up for a late run. And this is a crazy late run. Upstate New York's own Chad Brown, got a feel for him. Dunbar Road is the number 11. Marsh Lorraine, the number 10. And it comes down to a bob at the wire. And I mean, this is a bob. And Dunbar Road is going to wind up on the short end of it. But it's one of those that they showed it over and over. And it was kind of, I'm not sure. And chart margin is a nose. But if they had something slim, if they had a chart margin that they could put in of a hair, that was probably closer. 49-1 for Marsh Lorraine. It was the second win for the Japanese connection. So the Japanese runners, there you see that it is dead close. This is where you're kind of like, is it? I'm not sure. And it was, they were showing this over and over, and it was impossible to separate. So again, got a feel for Chad Brown, Peter Brandt, Jose Ortiz coming up that short with Dunbar Road at 12-1. But Marsh Lorraine does get it done, 49-1. Running third was Malathat, the nice 3-year-old filly, Alabama winner for Todd Pletcher. She was only half a length back there. Clariere at the top of the stretch looked like, man, she made a move on the turn where you just thought she was going by, and then just kind of flattened out just a little late to run fourth, but a pretty good fourth. But boy, on the turn, you thought she was going to get it done. Favored Latruska, as I said, winds up 10th in the field of 11. But as I said yesterday, I don't know if it made a bit of difference what Latruska did yesterday. I still think she's got the eclipse for older female in her back pocket. It's hard to believe that's not going to be the case. She just put together such an incredible season this year. So I think, it's unfortunate. It would have been fun to see her go out with the exclamation point, but it was just an insane pace. And after the follow-up article, I think in the Daily Racing Forum, I don't think the trainer, Fausto Gutierrez, was happy. He said something like, yeah, it was one horse who wasn't going to win, trying to make sure another horse wasn't going to win. So he was clearly not happy with the early pace in there, nor, I'm sure, were many, many bettors who used Latruska in their mix. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll continue looking at some of the action from yesterday. And as I said, we're going to end a little bit early because with the early post time at Belmont today, they will kick things off early there, which means an early pregame show. So we'll try to get you to that. But first, this message. Stay tuned.
Where's the best place to find your favorite teams, your favorite food, daily drink specials, and wagering on live horse racing? Legends Field Sports Bar, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Get your game on day or night with 75 flat-screen TVs, tournament-style pool tables, a private banquet room, and live horse racing. So if someone asks you, where's the best sports bar in the capital region? Tell them Legends Field Sports Bar, inside the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Welcome back to Racing Across America, Breeders' Cup Weekend Edition, the day after, as it were. And Brian from the control room came in a minute ago and said Malathaat, probably the 3-year-old filly Eclipse. That's probably right. You look, she won the Ashland, a Grade 1. She won the Kentucky Oaks, which automatically puts you at the top of the class. Then had that crazy, short field pace, just missing in the Coaching Club American Oaks up at Saratoga behind Maracuja, but won the Alabama. So, you got 3 Grade 1s with the Kentucky Oaks and the Alabama, probably the top 2 3-year-old filly races of the year. So, she, with the 3rd place finish yesterday, but what she'd done earlier probably puts her in the Eclipse category as well, the Eclipse winner category on the 3-year-old filly side. Breeders' Cup Mile a little bit earlier, obviously, on the day. I took a little pop with Raging Bull. That one ran an okay 4th. You'll see on the stretch run here, Raging Bull's the number 4 horse and kind of comes up and just doesn't have enough momentum to get up in the mix, really. But started a little too late and had, you can see the number 4 there and kind of just didn't have enough in the stretch. But right underneath, I had Space Blues. Space Blues, pretty good season. Question mark was the mile distance. Space Blues is the number 3 horse, smooth like straight. We had a good race out here on the lead, but gets run down by Space Blues. Ivar runs 3rd, and as I say, number 4, Raging Bull, is now, sitting on the rail coming up, but just didn't get the momentum to get going. But getting the momentum was Space Blues. Again, William Buick, Charlie Appleby. Again, Appleby just a phenomenal season this year, and it continued, obviously, on Breeders' Cup Day. Space Blues, a nice 5-year-old European runner who, as I kind of alluded to, specialized more in sprint-type distances, 7 furlongs, 6, 6.5. So the stretch out to a mile and 2 turns, how is that going to work? Well, that's how it was going to work. The chart margin was half a length, went off as the 2-1 favorite, and gets it done in the Breeders' Cup Mile yesterday. So there again, on a day where there was a mix of some crazy results and some short-priced results, Space Blues was one of those logical horses that did get it done. The Breeders' Cup Sprint, Jackie's Warrior was one of those that didn't get it done. Jackie's Warrior at 1-2 was facing older horses for the first time. Dr. Shivel was also logical, the number 9 horse. I had Aloha West, the number 5, at the bottom of my mix. This is some stretch run. Keeps coming, and just gets to Dr. Shah. Ooh, I mean, that sums up, that and the one we looked at earlier, the Dunbar Road, Marsh Lorraine, sums up what a fun day it was. I mean, you get finishes like that. But that was, as I say, some stretch run from Aloha West. Goes out for Wayne Catalano and Eclipse Thoroughbreds. Had not had a stakes win yet, and in fact had only tried 2 stakes earlier in the career. Had run 4th in the Kelly's Landing at Churchill Downs, and had run a close-up 2nd last time in the Phoenix, which kind of touted the horse may be coming in good form, and just gets the bob here, winning it. Again, chart margin and nose, Dr. Shivel a half a length over Following C, Special Reserve 4th, Jackie's Warrior at 1-2, a disappointing 6th in there after that one had looked so phenomenal earlier in the season. But that's the Breeders' Cup. That's how it works out. The Sprint Eclipse Award now maybe up in the air. I mean, Jackie's Warrior had done so much, but against 3-year-olds. So it'll be interesting to see how the conversation goes with the sprinters playing out at this point. But again, yesterday, Jackie's Warrior coming up short on a day where, again, some of the logicals were beaten. Few of the logicals got it done, so there was the opportunity to make some money, and there was the opportunity to lose some money. But that's what the racetrack is all about, obviously. Philly and Mayor Turf. Loves Only You, Japanese runner. Again, certainly playable, had very good form in Japan. That one's going to get it done at 4-1. My sister Nat for Peter Brandt and Chad Brown, 29-1, and runs very well. Warlike Goddess was the 2-1 favorite. We had seen that one run right up here at Saratoga and win a couple of stakes earlier this year. The number 7, right in the thick of things late, but splitting them. It was Loves Only You getting it done, as I say, at 4-1 for Japan. And again, nice day for the Japanese runners. For those of us here, I think the betting public was on board at 4-1. But again, I would love to see how the Japanese betting played into the American pools, because I'm sure, like other Asian companies, they like to send it in, and I'm imagining they send it in on their runners. So the 4-1 probably is reflected a lot of foreign betting as well, because I think Japanese runners for us are a little bit more of a puzzle than even, I feel like we're kind of tuned into European runners, and I think we have now developed ways to handicap. We kind of, handicappers who watch every day know where to go to find European information and maybe watch some replays and whatnot. So I think that, and we're familiar also with European jockeys and trainers. So I think the European runners are a little bit easier for us. I think Australia has gotten close to that. So when Australian runners come, the thing is, we don't get those that much. Certainly in the Breeders' Cup, we don't get Australian runners. Hong Kong runners, I think, are a complete mystery. We don't get many of those. And Japanese runners, I think, are in the same category where they're a mystery, but we don't get many of those either. But yesterday they came, and again, betting public was on board, but I would love to know, how much of that was money coming from the home country, maybe playing into it. But Loves Only You did look good, kind of splitting rivals and getting it done there in the Philly and Mayor Turf. Also yesterday in the Breeders' Cup Mile, I put Life is Good underneath, and I know Life is Good was one that a lot of people were kind of leaning on and saying in the lead up to the Breeders' Cup, this is going to be one of those horses that is a slam dunk. I wasn't totally convinced. I used Silver State. I got disappointed. Silver State as the second choice at 3-1 winds up 5th in here. Life is Good, on the other hand, this was some performance. I mean, Life is Good turned out to, lived up at the Breeders' Cup, on Breeders' Cup Day, lived up to all the hype we heard earlier this year. Only one blemish on the record, and that was in the Jerkins at Saratoga, coming up just short to Jackie's Warrior, but gets it done very convincingly yesterday in the Dirt Mile. Ginobili second, Restrained Vengeance runs third in there. And again, that was some nice performance. Now 5 wins and 6 career starts. Elliott Walden from WinStar seemed to indicate after the race that we will be able to look forward to more from Life is Good. It looks like there'll be a 4-year-old season as well, which is good news, because what we've seen so far, and clearly what we saw yesterday, was very, very promising. Speaking of which, let me pull up go over our buyers for the winners. I said Nick's Go had 112, Ebar had 105, Marsh Lorraine had a 103 buyer, Space Blues a 106, Loves Only You a 102, Life is Good a solid 109 yesterday. So again, going to be fun to see Life is Good returning to the races next year as a 4-year-old. In the turf sprint, I had Golden Pal in the mix. I thought the numbers were a little light on Golden Pal, though, so I put that one down in the 3rd position for me, and mainly because turf sprint, Wesley Ward, the numbers are a little light, but I can't ignore, and Wesley Ward and Golden Pal double up in the Breeders' Cup, as Golden Pal won the Breeders' Cup juvenile turf sprint last year, comes back to win the turf sprint this year. I had Lieutenant Dan on top. Lieutenant Dan, pretty solid second. I thought here Lieutenant Dan was maybe going to get the momentum going to go by, but then after like 3 or 4 strides, you realize, oh, no, he's not really making up any ground. It's going to be Golden Pal. But those two separate themselves. So couple of logicals for me in the mix. Running third, Charmaine's Mia at 28-1. Emirati Anna runs fourth in there, but it was a nice win for Golden Pal, Wesley Ward, Magner and Tabor and company, as they say, doubling up in the Breeders' Cup, which in and of itself is pretty unusual and pretty special. And so Golden Pal going year to year with Breeders' Cup victories puts a nice spin, nice little side story on the day as well. And as I say, Lieutenant Dan ran nicely, had been 2 for 2 at Del Mar previously, had come into this with a 3 for 3 2021 season so far for Steve Miotti, and runs a good second. So there's no shame in the performance of Lieutenant Dan as well. And with a couple of logicals, what was our exact? We got $32 for, again, a couple of players that look very logical in there. Breeders' Cup Filly and Mayor Sprint. CC is going to get it done here, but more notable, the storyline, Gamine runs third at 2-5. I took a little shot against Gamine. I did it with Bella Sophia. Bella Sophia was right out there pressing Gamine throughout. Gamine held on for third. Bella Sophia fades to fourth. CC, if things fell apart, I thought CC was going to be the one to pick up the pieces. So I played some pick bets using CC, so I was perfectly happy with the result. And I had the horse underneath. Again, I had Bella Sophia over Gamine, over CC. But I did think there was maybe the potential for what happened to happen. And that was Bella Sophia and Gamine. To me, they look like quality speed. And I felt stronger that one or the other would prevail. But there was the potential there for things maybe to fall apart, and that's the way it happened. And 7 furlongs, a little bit different than 6. At 7 furlongs, things did fall apart a little bit, and CC gets it done at 6-1, 1440. So as I say, I played some pick wagers that played out because, I think beating Gamine inflated. I had a pick 3 into Golden Pal, and so I had played Princess Grace, I had played, not Princess Grace, I played the winner Going Global. That was a fairly short price, but then CC juiced it up a little bit, and Golden Pal was the 5-2 favorite. So there was a fairly short price, either the favorite or the second choice in the first leg, the favorite in the third leg, but you put CC in there. And the pick 3 for 50 cents was $94. So there was some value there, again, beating Gamine. All right, I'm just looking up, and they have tossed up the coming up is Andy Serling and Anthony Stabile graphic. So I'll wrap things up here with an abbreviated edition of the day after Breeders' Cup. Hopefully, as I say, you cash some money, loaded your pockets, and you're ready to play today, because there's great racing here on the network and via Capital OTB Bet. I'll be back in about an hour or so with the early post time at Belmont to take a look at Belmont. I also have a little Churchill Downs in my sight, so we'll look at those, and we'll have much more here on the network as well. Should be fun. It's been a fun weekend so far. Let's keep it rolling. As I say, be back in about an hour or so with OTB Live for a Sunday afternoon. We'll see you then.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.